Hi guys, and welcome to the Lowland League Catchup. It's myself, Rampant FM, and as always, I'm joined by Mozza. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. How's you?
Yeah, I'm good. And Shaun Spedding, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Brilliant. We'll start with, we'll get straight into it, and we'll start with the Football Nations Cup semi-final between Spartans and Pennycook Athletic, which was on Friday night. Pennycook, obviously, leaders in the East of Scotland Conference A. Pennycook had the ball in the net, but the Lino had long since held his flag aloft. It was a goal for Spartans. He'll be claiming it. It was a shot all along. Davy Greenhill whips the ball into the box. The wind takes it for a journey over the keeper and off the back stick. 87 minutes. Oh my, it's possibly extra time. Sam Jones equalises for Pennycook. Thoroughly deserved from what I've heard as well. So the game went into extra time there, and we did have a penalty shootout with Spartans coming up 4-2 winners with Mikey Herd slotting home the winning penalty. Fantastic account of themselves, Pennycook, from what I've heard. Thoroughly deserved to be in the match, and possibly could have ran out winners. They'll be disappointed to get beat on penalties against a good Spartan side.
Yeah, I think you've summed it up pretty well. From all the kind of reaction I've seen of the game, Pennycook were very, very worthy to get all the way through to the penalties. Like when they got their goal at the end, that was a kind of direction of travel of the game anyway. And from what people are saying, including the Spartan side, but we should have expected that, because we've said it multiple times on here that the teams at the top of the East of Scotland conferences would be trouble for any Lowland team. There's not a big gulf there at all, if a gulf. So fair play for them to take Spartans all the way, but ultimately they managed to grind it out and get through to the final. So well done to Dougie and the lads.
Yeah, it's really good for Spartans they've got themselves into a cup final. It'll be great for the team, obviously. They've struggled a wee bit in the league this season compared to maybe last, but it's brilliant that they've got into a cup final.
Yeah, brilliant, and obviously Davy Greenhill meant that shot. I agree, Moz. Obviously Pennycook had a decent side. Got a few ex-Lowland League players like Craig Stevens as well, who's cup tied. I'm sure he would have been gutted not to play against his former team. But obviously Scott McKenzie, who was a coach at Gala early in the season's there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they've got makings of a decent Lowland League side, Pennycook. Gutted probably to lose it on penalties, but we'll wait and see who Spartans have in the final. Obviously, there's a few matches to be played on the other side of that. It will be East of Scotland opposition, obviously, but we'll just have to wait and see. But we'll let you know once we know what the final is going to be. So we'll move on to Saturday. There was a couple of friendly games. It was Ayr United who beat BSC 4-0. Pretty much expected, considering that they're a team in the Championship and they're doing quite well. I think they're third.
Yeah.
And Stirling Uni got a run out too. I think it was only the twos though. So, but yeah, they were both in action, having not been involved in the Lowland League fixtures this week. We'll jump in to Vale of Leven, East Stirlingshire first. Do you want to run us through that, Shaun?
So Vale of Leven, they welcomed East Stirlingshire. So the teams were out, handshakes were complete, and it was Vale of Leven that got the game underway. It was a great cross by Dash that saw the Vale of Leven leading keeper tip the ball off the head of Ross Allen. It was a free kick for Vale of Leven next in the centre circle. It was cleared away by Graham McGregor. A diagonal ball was headed back across goal from Ross Allen and David McCoffey to finish 1-0, which that was East Stirlingshire taking the lead there. It was a corner from Vale of Leven that was saved by Barclay next, and a break by David McCoffey again, who was pulled down for a yellow card. Could easily have been a red. A corner for Shire, but the shot went just wide by Andy Grand. Speculative shot then by Ross Allen was high wide, but their Twitter feed has said it was a handsome shot. Free kick by Ash again to Paul McCaffrey, and then across. There was more excellent interplay by the Shire that were rewarded by a corner, and they managed to produce a goal for Connor Green, which made it 2-0 to Shire. Coffey then insisted it was a bobble, but however, nobody else was owning up to seeing that. Half time it was 2-0 to the Shire. Shire were keeping up where they left off and creating a lot of chances as they started the second half. And after a long time out through injury, it was good to see Liam Allison return to field when he was substituted on for David McCoffey. It was a great ball by Brisbane that saw Ross Allen finishing, and the flag went up for offside, which made it still 2-0 to Shire. There was a corner after that, went through every player in the box. It was Connor Green that reacted the quickest though and knocked it in to make it 3-0 to the Shire. And then a final Shire corner with another swing in, and it was Brisbane, but it was saved by the Vale leading keeper. So the game finished 3-0 to Shire. I think it's what most people were kind of expecting out of this game.
Yeah, I think it's kind of what we talked it through, wasn't it? That Shire would be the most likely winners of it, but obviously you never count Vale losing out, just depending on the game. But the form that the guys Del Uren and Andy Rogers been able to get out of those boys recently, though, it's kind of gone the way we expected it to from the chat we had last week.
Absolutely. Scott Gray, obviously quite influential, I think, for a young player coming on loan from Rangers. Really good at set plays, setting up a lot. 2 goals from Connor Green. As I mentioned on Twitter, the record keepers are going to have to keep up one. Fantastic win from Shire. I kind of expected it, to be honest. I think that was one of my absolute games where I picked a winner last week, because I just couldn't see Vale leaving. I expected a comeback from Shire after the civil game, basically.
Yeah.
And again, it's it's the same names: David McGawkey, Paul McCafferty. It's just another fantastic win from Shire, and it's what we kind of talked about. A few weeks ago now, but they're just wanting to end the season off on a high, and they're doing absolutely that. I think they were just unlucky in the civil game, obviously, but the momentum goes on for them, I think, and obviously a massive shout out to Liam Allison, who's returned to the team after a lengthy injury. So it's good to see him back for Shire as well.
Definitely, and they're also buoyed by the news that came out just a few weeks ago that they've now secured some pretty significant investment going into next season. So no doubt all these boys will now be thinking, well, I need to play well to keep my spot, given that new players are likely going to be arriving in summer.
Yep, absolutely agreed, mate. And we would probably expect them. Well, my firm expectation is the fact they're going to be challenging again for the Lowland League, I think, next season.
Yeah.
We'll get into Civil Service Strollers versus Gallifreyan Rovers. This was another absolute for me. I thought Civil Service Strollers would have run out, but we like Gala, don't we, Moz?
I just want to say that it was myself that said Gala get a chance here, so just putting that out
there. Jordan Hopkinson fires Civil ahead after 5 minutes. Gallifreyan Rovers level from the penalty spot after one of their players was fouled by Josh Donaldson. That was about 10 minutes before half time. 1-1. David Churchill fires Civil ahead after rounding the keeper before slotting the ball in the net. And just a wee note on this one, he looked like he enjoyed it from the pictures. He said himself that he needs to stop with the expressions, but it was a fantastic photo. He obviously enjoyed it. Big Churchill there. Gallifreyan Rovers level the game with a terrific free kick from the edge off the box that nestles in the top corner. Rory Payton getting his second and obviously equalising pretty much right at the death for Gallifreyan. I think Civil will be disappointed not to take 3 points, but they move up to third, 1 point ahead of Kelty. I think Kelty have a game in hand, but I think they would have loved to have 3 there, but from all accounts, I think it was a fair result from what I've heard.
I would agree. I think we've always said that Gala can go anywhere and cause a bit of an upset. And to be honest, that weekend of games there, I think there was some surprising results across the board, and this one was no different, because I would agreed with you, Rampant, that I would have thought Civil Service Strollers would have had this in the bag. I would have been quite confident in saying that before the game, but credit where credit's due to Gala for coming out and coming back from being down twice to go away with a point.
Anytime you consider going the 91st minute, you're going to be upset you've not had all 3 points, aren't you? But fair play to Fairydean, they've kept going, they've pushed on, as pretty much every game recently, they've gone right to the final whistle and managed to get something out. It's a fair play to them.
Just a wee note, I do believe Rhys Donaldson might have been sent off towards the end. I think he picked up 2 yellow cards within a minute just at the end. I don't think he got any sway on the game, obviously, but It wasn't reported by either club's Twitter, so I might be wrong about that. But again, it didn't have any sway on the game. And congratulations to Gala Ferradine Rovers under-13s team, who were Edinburgh Cup winners today, I noticed on Twitter. So they beat Tynecastle FC Whites 5-4. Fantastic for the young boys of Gala there. And just on another note, obviously Scott Taylor Mackenzie, who's recently moved from Kelty Hearts, made his debut in the game. I never personally got to know Scott too much, but it's good to see he's obviously moved away from Kelty in the sense that he'll get more first team action. Always preferred him out wide, but he can certainly do a job anywhere in the park for Gala, so it's a really good move, and hopefully it works out well for him.
Yeah, and obviously the other way around, Sean McCurdy got his move to Kelty, so 1 in 1 out on both sides, and hopefully it works out well for both the lads.
Edinburgh Uni versus Edisport Academy. Nothing too much to say about the game in terms of updates, but it was the first was scored by Gavin Stokes and the second scored by Matty Flynn. If I remember correctly, I think a lot of people were fancying Edinburgh Uni last week, just because the fact they were at home, because Edisport have not really, again, been on the best form, kind of like Uni, but that was a good away win for them.
Definitely. Well, they've not won in quite a while, so any win's a good one when you've gone on a bit of a barren run. And I've kept a clean sheet, it's the other thing, because I've not had many of those recently, so two ticks in the kind of the column, so to speak. But Matty Flynn's been good for them this season, so it's no surprise to see him being involved in the score sheet and the reckoning when they've come back and got a win. Edinburgh Uni will probably be a wee bit disappointed. I suspect that Dorian went into that game with the boys thinking that they had a decent chance of getting 3 points. So yeah, he'll not be too kind of happy about the end result, I'd suspect. But now, well done to Ricky and Edusport, and we'll see if they pick up some more points now that they've got that monkey off their back.
I would agree. I had this one pegged down as being a draw, to be honest. So, and I think if I had to pick a winner, I would have said Edinburgh University as well. So, well done to Edusport for going out there and getting a 2-0 win away from home. And
just on Matty Flynn, I really like him as well, Moz. I think he's a really talented footballer. Edisport do have a decent team. It's just I think they've had a lot of new faces in recently. I think they've struggled a wee bit for a bit of composure with the new guys coming in, as we've seen with other teams. But a fantastic win, and they'll be hoping. If I remember correctly, I think they've got the least amount of games to play compared to other teams.
You're right. I've just double checked. They've got 2 games left.
Yeah, two games left, so hopefully they can end the season off on a bit of a high for themselves. We'll move on to Dalbeattie Star versus Kelty Hearts, probably one of the bigger results of the weekend. Unfortunately, I didn't make the game. I had a prior engagement, though. I'm probably kind of glad that I didn't have to deal with the travel down. I know a lot of boys and other clubs don't like the travel to Dalbeattie. All in all, a fantastic win for them. It was a debut goal to open the scoring for Sean McCurdy off Kelty. Dalbeattie did equalise not long after the restart, after Ben Irving basically hit the back of the net, and it was 2-1 Dalbeattie. Lewis Todd gives Star the lead with 10 minutes to go. A fair result from what I've heard, as well as Kelty I think they ran out of ideas second half. Obviously not being at the game, it's kind of hard to summarise, so I'm going by what I've heard and what I've read. I love this from Curtis Wilson, who we've obviously mentioned, one of the Star's sort of main players, if you will. He tweeted out, "The year I started at Dalbeattie, Barry Ferguson led his team out in the UEFA Cup final. Yesterday, he came to Islecroft and left with nothing. Never thought I'd see the day. Been another tough season, but days like yesterday make it all worthwhile. Mon the Star." It's a fantastic result for Dalbeattie, considering I don't think they had one at home since September last year. Hopefully my facts are correct with that. And although it comes as a bit of a surprise, we've got to remember Dalbeattie were drawn with Spartans before the game got postponed. They were leading 3-1 against Civil, so they certainly had the belief to go out there and obviously get the win. And I think that's one of the reasons they went out and got a win that essentially was much needed. On the Kelty point of view, I think the boys will be disappointed, and it's a very long ride home after a defeat. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's maybe just as well you clarified that, because I think the Star Boys might have came after you for saying that you don't want to travel down there. But yeah, cracking result, absolutely brilliant result for them. We did have a chat about this a few weeks ago in the bogey teams side of things with Kelty and Dalbeattie, and so it's proved again that Star they've got the most important result of I'd argue of their whole season, because this essentially stops them being bottom. So for now they avoid the threat of automatic relegation, and they had a point to prove, because as you say, they've not had a home win for a wee while now, but they've also thrown away quite a few points from winning positions, is the other thing to bear in mind. It's not just the game that got abandoned, the Spartans and so on, that they've just not seen the kind of job through a lot of the time after getting themselves in decent positions. But I said that I was quite impressed when they played BSC, the kind of the style of football and a couple of moves they strung together, and they managed to put everything together in one go there yesterday and get the 3 points, so well done to them. On the flip side of that, I suspect Kelty will be pretty upset because they've been in and out of form again after a really good run, and they're in danger now of slipping out of the top four if they don't kind of get right back into the winning form that they were in. But I think on a day like this, especially when you mention Curtis's Twitter post, there's been one or two others. You just need to give the full credit to Star on a day like that.
Yeah, no, I'd absolutely agree. I think these two teams have had a little bit of a thing for each other since the first game of the season. Dalbeattie were the first team to play. Kelty when they came up, and they obviously made a bit of noise when they came up, and they've played 4 times this year, and Kelty have won 1, Dalbeattie have won 1, and they've drawn a couple of games. So I think it's definitely the start of a wee bit of a rivalry between the two teams, and I think if there's any team that Dalbeattie could have gone out and beat at home this season, I think Kelty's the game they probably would have wanted to win, just because that sort of wee rivalry. I might be reading it all wrong, but I certainly sense there's a wee bit of rivalry between the two teams.
Yeah, I would agree, Sean. I think it's like that with a lot of the clubs. I think we mentioned obviously a team like Kelty coming into the league. I think they would have expected a lot of teams to come up and sort of show up for them and play against them. And I think you're right, just on the whole Dalbeattie Kelty Hearts thing. I think has sort of turned. I think you're absolutely right, Mozza. The fact that if Civil had managed to hold on and get a win there, that would have made things very, very interesting in that sort of battle for top 4.
Yep.
They've got a big game on Wednesday again, so they don't have a lot of time to sort of think about it. They have to move on quickly and make sure that it's not all doom and gloom. You know, the boys having got to know some of them, and that, you know, it's like what you said. They'll be disappointed in that, but they'll be looking to go out and do it right on Wednesday against a really good Cumbernauld Colts side.
Yeah, and if the other thing to look at when I mentioned the top 4 there is, if Spartans win 2 of their games in hand, that puts them level with Kelty in games played, and it'd be a point ahead of them now. So it just shows you what a brilliant run Spartans have been on in the league the last few months. Absolutely.
Obviously, that was a huge result for Dalbeattie Star. We'll move on to Gretna 2008 versus Whitehill Welfare. There wasn't really much to talk about in the first half. Certainly, we didn't see much. It was a penalty in the 77th minute scored by Jake Smith. Left it kind of like the two teams. It was, I think, even up until that point. It was another goal for Gretna by Big Kev Connolly after 81 minutes. And Darnell Ramsey scores for Whitehill to give them a wee bit of a chance with just over 5 minutes to go. Given Dalbeattie's result and Whitehill losing there, and probably one of their more comfortable ties, I would say, coming ahead, it's got to be a massive disappointment for Whitehill. But flip side, Gretna getting another win, really, which we sometimes we've not really talked too much about it lately, Mozza. You've been more in the losing column of late than they have with their winners, but it's a fantastic result for Gretna.
Yeah, the win was the most important thing. Again, like we said last time on the pod, they've got it in the end. They had a wee bit of a nervy last few minutes, after conceding. But yeah, fair result from what I've read. I think it says a lot, though, that the most interesting thing that's came out of that game was the fact that Jermaine Defoe turned up to watch it. So it doesn't sound like it was a classic by any means. It was two teams just scrapping in kind of slightly dodgy weather conditions in terms of the wind or whatever. But the most important thing for Gretna was a win, and he got it. And Whitehill now need to look ahead to what's most likely going to be a season in the East of Scotland Premier League, obviously depending on what happens promotion relegation wise in the leagues below. But it's the rebuilding job starts now, so at least they've got a bit of confirmation that that's going to have to get done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it was quite a big game for both the teams. The outcomes obviously solidified what's happening with Whitehill for the next season, and yeah, rightly so. They need to start looking forward to that. But likewise for Gretna, I think this was a game where, you know, if they hadn't gone out with the right mentality, especially at home, if they had dropped points to Whitehill, it's not a result they would have been pleased with. So for them to go out and get the win, I think is a bigger statement than a lot of people think or might be thinking for Gretna as well.
And just on that note, guys, I don't know who you taught you maths, but they're technically not relegated yet.
Oh no, I'm not saying they're automatically relegated. That's why I'm saying depending. But realistically, I think they're going now.
Yeah. I think it was a matter of when rather than, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a tough one. Obviously, we've not really had a lot of positive things to say about Whitehill over the course of the season while we've been doing this pod due to results and whatnot. But we'll wait and see what happens. There's a lot of stuff to be discussed, and in terms of licensing and everything, if they can reapply, and we'll obviously keep everyone updated on what's going on there. We'll get into our last Lowland League game. It was East Kilbride with the chance to win the title against Cumbernauld Colts. Just before we get into the game, myself and Shaun did go over to Broadwood on Thursday for their training session, and we managed to speak to Fraser Team. So I'm with Fraser Team of Cumbernauld Colts, so we're just going to ask you a few questions, Fraser. What were your thoughts on Scotland's performance? You can have a kidding.
Oh, I don't start that.
Well, kidding. I've mentioned the podcast. I think Cumbernauld Colts were my sort of dark horse for top four.
Yeah.
More recently, you've had a lot of postponements, like I think 2 or 3 games against both leavings, and the momentum's kind of went down a wee bit. A lot of draws rather than obviously picking up points. How do you feel you're going to get as high as you want in the league going forward?
I think at the start, I think we had a great start to the season, and I thought the boys were absolutely brilliant. I mean, the game against Kelty, we were 2-1 down, and they were a really, really good team, and we came back 2 each, 3-2, won the game. And I just don't think we had that belief that we were that team that were going to kick on and be in that time. A lot of boys were just like, right, okay, we're here, we're doing well, but didn't have that, right, we can actually do this, that belief. And I think it just kind of, we went on that run and we just kind of dipped, and we were losing games. I think we should have been winning. I think we know we should have been winning them, but we just never kicked on for that, and we were just picking up draws, and it just didn't go for us.
So I think your partnership with Sean Brown has been quite effective, but he's obviously not been in the team the last sort of few games. Do you think that's maybe affected you up front, or?
I think me and Sean clicked as soon as we came in, and before I came in actually, James and Craig said that to me, that Sean was the striker that was here, and he felt that we could work well together. So for the off, I mean, we clicked and it was going well, but he's got a bit of an injury now in his knee, so that's how he's not playing. But it's changed that a wee bit, because now obviously Stephen Stengo said to step up into the playoff me really. So I would say it's effective, because Sean brings a lot of goals and he's a real handful. If people are doing teams before it, would probably say Sean's a player that would look out for trying to fit again, so it's probably affected us, you're right. I think that has affected you a wee bit, like personal point of view. But there's a few boys on loan from the likes of Livingston, Stirling Albion. Obviously, I think you started your career Hamilton. Yeah, I was at Hamilton, and then I went to St Mirren. So I what similar to them, you mean, as in how would you sort of
being a young player and coming on loan to a Lowland League team?
I think it'll do them a world of good. When Jordan's played every game for us, he's our number one goalie.
Yeah.
It's different for Craig. We've got really good wingers here. We've got Craig Holmes, Holman, Stengo, really good players. But I think going on loan's not just about playing. I think it's about the environment. I think it's feeling part of the first team. And I think Craig's really enjoying that side. Obviously, I don't get me wrong, everybody wants to play. Jordan's playing every week, but it's definitely something that's going to benefit him in the long run. I think Craig's a really good player. I mean, training, he's tremendous. I mean, his finishing, that's brilliant. And 2 feet, somebody's got to get a go off him. But just, I think coming into this is definitely the right thing for him to do. And coming on loan, and he'll gain a lot of experience for it.
Brilliant, good. Obviously, coming into the weekend, you've got a massive game against East Kilbride. A lot of the attention's on Kilby because it could be their title decider, if you will. What are you doing as a team, and what's the atmosphere been around going into that game?
I mean, I think we're getting into it with no pressure on us. So I think we go into the game the way we all go into every game. I think we just prepare like we're doing training, and don't get me wrong, you need to be maybe a wee bit cautious. They are the best team in the league. I mean, it speaks for itself. They're top of the league. If you're top of the league, you're the best team. So we will take a bit of caution, but we've got no fear. We'll go into the game, do the same attacking game that we play, and try and get a result, and hopefully don't win the league on the day they play us.
We obviously want to thank Cumbernauld Colts for allowing us to come over, and obviously Fraser and Stephen O'Neill for the interviews. We'll get into the game, guys. From what I heard, it was quite frustrating for East Kilbride. Obviously a big crowd expecting another Lowland League title. You know, they bossed it from what I heard early on in terms of possession. They had a chance, Malcolm's header from BG Coyle's cross. It was tipped over and nothing came of the corner. Graham Holmes goes into the book for a challenge on Fraser Team. I think he had to go off earlier due to an injury, maybe about a few minutes after, I think 10 or 15 minutes after that in the first half. Colts did have a chance to obviously Fraser Team just before he came off. He finds space for the shot, but he fires over from 15 yards. BJ Coyle and Malcolm combine again, but Malcolm can't get his header on target. BJ Coyle swings in a free kick for Kilby, and Howie's header drifts wide. Colts with the best chance of the game as O'Neill breaks down the wing, cuts inside and fires at goal. Muir is equal to it and gets down well to keep it level. Malcolm hits the bar 5 minutes before half time. Pretty cagey, obviously, with a massive game, but Kilby's were pushing for the goal, but Cumbernauld Colts just basically hitting them on the counter. I think Paul Wood's free kick deflects onto the roof of the net. Jamie Longworth comes on for Cammy Russell as well to chase the winner, and it was an incredible save on the 71st minute from Jordan Pettigrew to deny Malcolm. A few subs here and there, but they just couldn't get the job done. I spoke to Fraser. He talked about, I don't know how literally he meant it and how much he believed it, but they obviously said they were going into that game with no fear. We did have a bit of a laugh because obviously he did mention the fact that East Kilbride are the best team in the league, but that the Colts deserve massive credit for going out there and drawing a blank off at East Kilbride, because that's only the second time this season that a team have managed to do that. I think the first one was Spartans, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
they did. East Kilbride did have a lot of chances. They had a chance at the end to win it, but Craig Malcolm couldn't keep it on target. It's a matter of when they're going to win it now. I think they'll be disappointed that they never won it on Saturday with a lot of hype going into the game. But as I mentioned, fair play to the Colts for going to K Park and getting a point.
You need to give the credit to the Colts in this instance, because Kilby, despite any pressure they've had on them up to this point, I know they had a big crowd in at the weekend. They've always got the job done, and be it a 1-0 win or grinding it out, they've managed to see it through. But thanks to the Colts turning up and getting the game plan bang on as well, because they had a threat, not just sitting in, they've managed to come away with a point, and I'm sure they'll be absolutely delighted to do so, and essentially spoil the party and delay it for maybe a few days at this point. But cracking result for them, because they're a team that we have been a wee bit critical of on this podcast. In terms of the later kind of parts of the season, they tend to fall away a wee bit. So it just shows what they're capable of.
Yeah, well done to both teams for going out and managing to defend against a couple of brilliant offences, like a couple of really good forwards for both sides. Sounds like Pettigrew had a great game in goals as well for Colts to keep it at 0-0. Kilby are a side that we know can go out and they can do enough to win, but this is one of the cases where they weren't quite able to do that. And Colts are a team that are more than capable of scoring goals, and credit to, I mean, we're all talking about East Kilbride not winning the game, but credit to East Kilbride for not conceding in the game as well. I know it's not something they do very often, but Colts have got very good strikers up front.
Yeah, I talked to Fraser Team about this, but obviously I think they've been missing Sean Brown as well. We talked very early in the podcast, Mozza, about the fact that their partnership was one of the reasons I think Colts had such a great start to the season. He's got a bit of an injury, and he's been missing the last few games, and I think that has affected them, because Stephen O'Neill's obviously had to go a wee bit further up the park and be behind kind of Fraser Team. So we're obviously hoping that Fraser's going to be alright and he's not going to be injured, having come off with an injury in the first half of that game. So just before we get into next week's fixtures, or this week's fixtures as well, I don't know if you guys saw my poll, but I done a poll basically about SFA club licensing.
Yeah.
Licensing has changed recently, affecting Tier 5 and Tier 6 clubs, either hoping to keep their licence or trying to gain one. And I was interested to know thoughts on what should be the main factor behind gaining a licence. There was 65 votes, 51% said own ground being the main factor, and 49% said floodlights. I knew it would be quite decisive, obviously, because there's a lot of teams that obviously ground share, and there's a few teams obviously that don't have floodlights. The reason I wanted to know really is because I think there's a bit of a danger for clubs that want to stay on their own ground without any floodlights. For example, civil service strollers, and as far as I'm aware, we don't know the complete ins and outs, obviously, this is just personal opinion. As far as I'm aware, say they have a midweek game, there's partnerships with other clubs there.
Yes, yeah.
And I think because the mandatory floodlights thing, the SFA are basically saying that's not good enough to keep your licence, which I think is a bit unfair, because surely that's the same as ground sharing, basically. So are they? I don't really know what the mentality is around that whole mandatory floodlights thing. Anyone got an opinion?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I could speak for quite a while on the SFA and the licensing process, because I think they're making a complete pig's ear of it just now, and I suspect a lot of clubs would agree with me as well, obviously not putting names out there. But do we really need a club to have floodlights to prove they're competent to play a certain level of football? I don't think we do. We don't live in a country where midweek games are an absolute must. Most teams can get a schedule done, especially at this level with less games, just by playing weekends, and when the lighter nights come, playing midweek at that point to fill out a schedule. But I feel like they're just putting the floodlights in now, and it's been done, and it's been kind of thrown in at the last minute.
Yep.
To try and delay all the new junior sides that have came over to the east of Scotland, because, well, the way club licensing works, for anyone that doesn't know that's listening in, just to be very brief about it, is you need a licence to be in the Highland Lowland League or above. Simple as that. And it goes into things like your admin, your accountancy, your facilities, your child protection policy. So basically making sure you're a viable community club, that you're not just going to go down the pan. Floodlights have never been essential until you've got up to SPFL level, and I can understand League 2 up, fair enough, because there's more games, there's more strain, and you're going to have to play midweek. But really, at Lowland level, do we need it? I mean, the more that I look at it, the more it feels like it's been put in as an excuse. Yep. And the other thing is, they can't even get themselves organised to tell the clubs that are in for a licence just now if they're going to get it for next season. The official deadline's meant to be the end of this month. Yep. So quite frankly, it's actually a bit of a disgrace what the SFA have done to those clubs that are applying for a licence right now. It's maybe sitting at the top of the East of Scotland leagues that don't know if they're going to be able to get promoted yet. and they can't prepare. So they need to get their finger out and get it sorted, because it's not good for not just the overall health of the kind of football pyramid in the country and so on, but it's not a complicated thing. It shouldn't be hard to keep folk in the loop. You know, you should be rewarding teams for being ambitious and wanting to come into the pyramid and progress.
Exactly.
I'll leave it there. I won't get too deep into the rest of the whole licensing conversation.
It's me that's usually rants, mate. You know?
I think you're spot on when you're saying about the fact that there's so much uncertainty at this point. If I'm the same as you, I don't think that they need to have floodlights, but if that's something they want to do, they need to set about doing it in a timely manner and giving people the correct kind of notice to do these kind of things. For it to be so unknown at this point, that's where I think they're really messing up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of the few things that I get properly passionate about in this side of things with teams coming into the pyramids. Like last year I wrote that article about the juniors initially jumping and such like. I feel like I might need to do something similar this time with not just that, but obviously they're trying to bring the junior leagues into the pyramid, and it's all going Pete Tong to put it mildly just now. So we'll see what happens eventually with that.
Yeah, I just thought it was an interesting point, because obviously it's been talked about, not only this, but the fact of the pyramid, which we'll probably discuss at a later point, mate, because that could be a whole episode, really. But no, yeah, it just seems like 2019's came about, and they've made the floodlights pretty much a mandatory thing. And I don't know what sort of notice the clubs have had, the ones that didn't have floodlights, but it was obviously an issue. But it seems like it's literally just, right, now you need to have them. Agreeing with another team to play your midweek games isn't good enough, basically. And I just think it's basically, in my opinion, it could be forcing teams with their own ground to ground share just to make to get a club licence, and I don't think that's right, because there's so many decent facilities without floodlights that will just go unused, and it's just, to me, that's just unacceptable.
Yeah, totally agree with you. From the couple of clubs that I've actually had a chat with about this, I won't name names, but it sounds like this floodlight condition has been dropped in within the last few months.
Yep.
Is a going concern. Yeah,
that's the idea I got as well. That it just seems to have happened all of a sudden, and we obviously know, not to go too far into it, but we obviously know that there's conditions to be met on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
With the people coming out to the clubs and making sure, but to obviously be all right with them conditions, then suddenly the goalposts are changed. That's without any real notice. I think that's just I don't think it's right, and I don't think it's fair, to be honest, on teams that have their own ground that might not have floodlights. And obviously there's a money factor in it as well, which we don't really need to get into, but we know how much floodlights cost to teams and at this level and everything else. So we'll get into next week's fixtures, we'll get into this week's fixtures. Tuesday night, East Kilbride versus Spartans. East Kilbride have another chance to win the title against the champions. Should be a cracking game. I think cracking's the right word for it. It's probably out of all the fixtures, including the weekend ones, it's got to be up there for match of the week, I think.
Yep, yeah, and it looks like the three of us might be heading along, so we'll see how it all pans out. Yeah, it does.
It's got to be a brilliant game, and after the way the season ended last year as well, I think both teams are going to go into this. East Kilbride, this will probably be the one where they really would love to lift the league title, and Spartans will really, really want to stop that from happening, I suppose. So I think it's going to be a cracking game, and that's why I think we've all said we want to go along and watch it.
Absolutely, and obviously East Kilbride went easy on Cumbernauld Colts because they really wanted to win the title against Spartans. No, I'm only kidding, obviously.
Get your tin hats out.
I'm only kidding. Conspiracy theories and all. No, this is a cracker. It really is. I think that's all there to be said. I think hopefully all three of us are going to make it on Tuesday night, because for me it's probably, I'm trying to think, but I think probably the biggest game of the season, I think.
Yeah.
So Wednesday night, Kelty Hearts versus Cumbernauld Colts. I'll likely be at this one also, so busy. I wasn't at any football on Saturday, which was a bit boring. I won't get into what I watched and what I was doing like last week, but yeah, Kelty Hearts versus Cumbernauld Colts. Obviously, Kelty lost their last 2 games, Spartans and then Dalbeattie the weekend. They'll be hoping to bounce back at home, but Colts, we know that they're no mugs coming off that result against East Kilbride. It's going to be another tough fixture, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's momentum wise as well. Kelty's on a bit of a dip at the moment. They'll be looking to come back, and Cumbernauld, I don't know how many games they've drawn now over the last 6 or 7, but they'll be desperate to get a win. But I'm sure they'll know that going on to New Central Park, it's not going to be an easy task. But they've shown what they can do when they play away from home just on Saturday. Then.
You think both teams will fancy their chances of getting 3 points in that one? Definitely.
I might have spoke too soon because there is a few cracking fixtures on Saturday as well.
I was thinking that.
We'll start with Civil Service Strollers versus Spartans. Battle for top 4 Edinburgh rivals, or North Edinburgh rivals, whatever you want to call it. But that's a fixture you've got to keep your eye out for. And if you can get along and you're in the capital, get to that game because it should be a cracker. Lord of the Rings travel, well, I can to get to the pitch, but no, it's we enjoyed our time at Civil Service Strollers, our first time at Christy Gillis Park, didn't we, Mozza?
And the miracle of £2 a pint in Edinburgh as well, thanks to the Ducot. So there's a wee tip if you're going.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to write off a game where somebody could win the title for Game of the Week, but that game should be outstanding between Strollers and Spartans. I couldn't pick a winner, and I think either of them can go there and they can walk away with 3 points. They could draw. They're both capable of, they're both going up against good sides. So I think that's a brilliant fixture.
Yeah, that's what you want at this level, isn't it? A game that you just don't know which way it's going to go. Anything can happen.
Oh, I'm not going to make a prediction. Having seen both teams recently, I've been impressed with both of them. It's going to be a tough game, and it's going to again, that word, it's going to be a cracker. And our next fixture, East Kilbride versus Kelty Hearts. I don't know what to make of this. They've not played each other all season. This will be the first time they sort of meet in the league, and Kilby could well be champions if they beat Spartans. If not, if they don't manage to beat Spartans, it's going to be another chance for Kilby to win the league, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on Kelty, depending on what happens in the Cumbernauld Colts game, having come off 2 losses with Spartans and Dalbeattie. Another cracking fixture. I don't know how it's going to go because we've not really had any sort of precedent this season of.
Yeah. The other thing to throw into this mix is that BSC aren't playing, so it's all in Kilby's hands regardless. They'll either go and win the league or they'll keep it going for another couple of weeks. So they don't need to worry about anyone else, just get the job done themselves. Spartans and Kelty will both not want to be the team that kind of lets them win the title on their patch. Obviously it's a kind of home game for Kelty and Spartans are there, but regardless, it's their trophy they don't want to give up just yet. So don't expect any easy walkovers for Kelty.
I think if Spartans can go along to K Park and get 3 points, then that East Kilbride and Kelty game it'll be, I need a different word to cracker. It'll be an outstanding game, especially if Kelty win on the Wednesday night. Whereas I think if the title's all wrapped up midweek, I really do like the look of that Strollers Spartans game, so I might have to go along and watch that one.
Yep, and Dalbeattie Star versus Stirling Uni. Dalbeattie Star want to keep the momentum going. Stirling Uni, I think they've missed Kieran Hall. Something we've not really mentioned, but kind of similar to Cumbernauld Colts with Sean Brown. Kieran Hall's not been playing for them. I'm not sure if it's for injury or what, but I think they've missed him up top. But certainly Dalbeattie Star will be going into that, coming off that fantastic win against Kelty, with all hope in the world to go out and get another win.
Absolutely. Again, it's one that's really tough to call. I don't think I can make a prediction on it, to be honest. So Uni will kind of obviously want to try and get another 3 points on the board there. Star both fancy themselves as safe now, but another 3 points will never hurt.
They're not on a bad run of form at the moment, so they've got a bit of momentum, and of course the game's at home as well, so that always helps.
Cumbernauld Colts versus Vale of Leven. Not sure about this one. I would probably go with Colts, just the fact they're at home. Vale were on a really decent run of form, but I think it's kind of went down a wee bit now. It's another tough one to call, really, in my opinion.
It's a whole slate of fixtures that are really tough to call, isn't it? That one, you'd expect a few goals in it, right enough, because when Colts and Leithen get together, you've got teams that have got decent foot attacking lines, although depends obviously if Fraser's able to get back for Colts in that one. Defensively, they're capable of letting a goal or two in as well, so we'll see. But now that I've done that, I've totally jinxed it for anyone. Apologies when the 0-0 comes up.
How the game goes at New Central Park for Cumbernauld, I think will have a bit of an impact on this game, but I would fancy them to go out and win against Vale, in that game.
Edinburgh Uni versus Gretna. I'm going to go with Gretna, personal opinion.
I think Uni. I think Edinburgh Uni will win that one. I could see why you would go with Gretna. They've just had a decent win, but they're on the road. They're travelling up to Edinburgh Uni, and Edinburgh Uni are a team that, I suppose, so is Gretna, a team that can win anywhere. But no, I think Edinburgh Uni will win.
Well, we've got a perfect split then, because I was going to go for the draw. So there we go.
Whitehill Welfare versus East Stirlingshire's our last match. Whitehill Welfare, it's like very much last chance saloon. I think they have to win 3 of their last 4 games to have pretty much any chance, and hope that Dalbeattie don't pick up any more points, which I think it's going to be almost a miracle, really. Shire, they're going to go into that game and expect another 3 points.
Yeah, Shire are playing for something as well. They've still got some league position to lose or gain towards the end of the season, so I think they've got a bit of battle going on with Cumbernauld Colts for that sixth spot, I think it is. So yeah, I think they're going to go out with a little bit more fight.
Shire are one of the form teams in the whole league just now, so you'd expect them to keep going to go to Welfare and take the 3 points. And I suspect they'll not actually say it out loud, but Welfare will now be building for next season. It would take a minor miracle for them to be in this league next year. Obviously, we'll wait and see what happens with Sport 16 in the summertime and so on. But yeah, I think they'll essentially be resigned to their fate and getting ready for the East of Scotland now.
We'll move on to plugs. We'll let you go first, Mozza.
Yep, keep it nice and simple. At Mozzaplays on Twitter, you'll find anything else through there. And so we don't forget, because I think we might have done one of the previous episodes, the pod is at Official Catchup as well.
Facebook page, it's just the Lowland League Catchup that you can find us on there, and we obviously post all the weekly interviews that we're trying to do on there, and try and put a bit of content that's a wee bit different to the Twitter one. So if you're sitting thinking you don't want to follow one because you follow the other, I think there's benefit to following them both.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously Twitter, you can, as Mozza mentioned, Official Catchup, and for myself it's at Rampant FM. Another episode, another weekend of really, well, about everything really in terms of results, guys. Some good wins, some solid wins for the likes of Shire and Edisport, and much needed wins for the likes of Gretna and Dalbeattie. East Kilbride, we're hopefully getting to the game on Tuesday to hopefully see them win the league, depending on what type of Spartans turns up. They won't want to be the team to lose their title. But yeah, it's more fascinating results. We're obviously going to cover the midweek games, and we'll cover Saturday's games on next week's episode. We obviously want to thank everyone that listens, the players, the managers, the clubs, everyone that really gets involved, and obviously to the league and George Fraser for their support also. And we'll see you next week.
See you later.